It was 3:12 a.m. when Adam Blake heard the crying. Not just a soft whimper, it was piercing, urgent, desperate. He bolted upright on his couch, heart pounding. The rain outside pounded against the windows, and the wind howled through the cracks of his empty lake house. The crying came again, this time from his front porch. He grabbed a flashlight, pulse racing. When he opened the door, the cold smacked him in the face, and so did something else. A basket, wrapped in plastic. Inside was a baby, soaked, shivering, crying so hard she was losing her breath. Adam staggered back. What the? Pinned to her blanket was a handwritten note, barely legible. Please save her. I can't. Her name is Hope. That's it. No phone number, no name, no explanation. Adam looked up and down the dark road. No headlights, no footsteps, just trees and rain. He was alone, with a baby and a choice. He called 911. They said they'd send someone, but when the line went quiet, he didn't move. He just sat on the floor with the baby in his arms and whispered, Hope, who are you? The police never showed up. Adam waited an hour, then another. He checked his phone. Signal weak. No bars. His cabin was tucked deep in the woods, perfect for escaping people, not finding them. Hope whimpered against his chest, her cries soft now, exhausted. He wrapped her tighter in a towel and checked her cold fingers, but she was breathing steady. He called again. Voicemail. By morning, the rain had stopped. The sky was bruised gray. Adam drove into town, the baby still bundled in his arms, expecting chaos, flashing lights, officers waiting, maybe even a missing child alert. Instead, the sheriff squinted at him over coffee. You found a baby? Yes, Adam said. On my porch. Last night. I called twice. The sheriff scratched his beard. No call came through here. Adam blinked. What? You sure you weren't dreaming? Does this look like a dream? Adam pulled back the towel. Hope yawned. The sheriff stood slowly. We'll run her prints. Maybe the hospital can ID her. But sometimes people leave things behind when they don't want them found. Adam stared. She's not a thing. She was Hope. And somehow, this didn't feel like abandonment. It felt like a warning. The hospital scanned Hope's prints. Nothing. No birth certificate, no records. She didn't exist legally. She's healthy, the nurse told Adam, but small for her age, maybe 4 months. No signs of abuse, just a little underweight. Back at the cabin, Adam couldn't stop staring at her. She had a tiny birthmark on her left shoulder, a perfect crescent. He didn't know why that stuck with him, but it did. He wasn't supposed to keep her. The sheriff made that clear. We'll get social services involved, he'd said. They'll find her a place. But 3 days passed, then 5. No one called. No one came. Adam fed her formula, bought a crib, read late-night parenting blogs, and fumbled through diaper changes like a war-zone rookie. But Hope smiled at him, every time like she knew him. And then he found it. Inside the basket, tucked deep in the lining, a folded photo. It showed a woman holding baby Hope. The woman's face was blurry, as if someone had deliberately smudged it, but in the corner, someone had written, If anything happens to me, raise her like your own. His name was on the back. Adam stared at the back of the photo like it might burst into flames. Raise her like your own, Adam. His name wasn't just printed, it was written in his handwriting. He dropped the photo, picked it up again, checked the date printed in the corner, 5 months ago. But he'd never seen this photo before, never held this baby before she was on his porch, never wrote that message. Unless someone wanted him to think he had. He tried to rationalize. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe another Adam. Maybe some messed up setup. But when he compared the handwriting to an old notebook in his drawer, it matched. Exactly. His heart thudded louder. He called his older brother Joel. Do you remember anyone from my past? Someone I might have dated years ago, who had a baby? Joel scoffed. You? Please. You avoided commitment like the flu. Adam didn't respond. That night, Hope cried again, not loud, but like a whisper. Adam held her close. Watching her tiny chest rise and fall, she looked up at him with those wide gray eyes. Eyes that looked familiar. Too familiar. 5 years later, the knocks came again. 3 slow knocks. At 2:37 a.m. 3 knocks. Not frantic, not polite, just steady. Like whoever stood on the porch already knew what was inside. Adam held Hope tighter. She stirred but didn't cry. The air in the cabin thickened. He opened the door slowly. A woman stood there, soaked from the foggy night, hoodie pulled over dark hair, eyes hidden in shadow. But her voice? It cracked like glass. "I've come for my daughter." Adam froze. "What?" She stepped forward. "Her name is Hope. I left her here 5 years ago. She's mine." His chest tightened. 5 years ago? "Yes," she said, voice trembling now. "I had no choice. I was being followed. I couldn't protect her. But I'm back now. I want her back." Adam looked down at Hope, fast asleep in his arms. She was 5 now. Talking, laughing, calling him Dad since she was 2. He'd never expected to be a parent, but he'd become one. And now, this stranger, this ghost, was asking for everything. "Prove it," he said. She pulled a sleeve up. On her left shoulder, a crescent-shaped birthmark, identical to Hope's. Then she whispered something that shattered him. "You were never supposed to keep her." Adam didn't sleep that night. The woman sat on his couch like a ghost who had every right to haunt the place. She said her name was Sophie. No last name, no ID, just that haunted stare and a story full of holes. "I left Hope here because I knew you'd keep her safe," she said. "But that was supposed to be temporary." Adam clenched his jaw. "You disappeared for 5 years. That's not temporary." Sophie didn't flinch. "I was being hunted. There were people who wanted her gone. I had to fake everything. My death, my records, even hers." He wanted to scream, to demand answers. But Hope came padding out of her room, sleepily rubbing her eyes. "Daddy?" she whispered. Adam turned, kneeling down. "Go back to bed, sweetie. I'll be right in." She didn't even glance at Sophie. Not once. That hurt her more than anything. Later, Sophie stood by the door. "I'm filing for custody. I'll win, Adam. She's mine." "She's ours," he said, "but she only knows one parent, me." Sophie's eyes were wet. "Then you better be ready to lose her." She walked into the dark. And this time, Adam didn't know if she'd come back alone. Adam stared at the court summons, like it was a punch to the gut. It came by courier, 2 days after Sophie vanished again. Custody petition, filed by biological mother, Sophie Hale. Hale? The name rang in his skull like an alarm. He called 3 lawyers. 2 wouldn't take the case. The third quoted a number Adam hadn't seen since his last car purchase. Hope sat at the kitchen table, coloring a picture of a stick figure man holding hands with a girl and a heart over their heads. "Who's that?" Adam asked. "You and me," she smiled. "I made your ears big this time." He laughed, but it cracked. Across town, Sophie met with her attorney and handed over a folder. Inside, Hope's real birth certificate, Sophie's medical records, and DNA proof. "She's my daughter," she said, "and I want her back." "But you left her." "I didn't have a choice," Sophie whispered. "They were after me." "Who?" But Sophie didn't answer. At home, Adam opened the photo of Hope as a baby again, and this time noticed something he hadn't before. The man in the background, watching from the woods. Not Sophie. Someone else. Adam zoomed in on the photo until the pixels bled, but the figure was clear. A man standing just beyond the tree line, dressed in black, blurred by distance, but unmistakably watching. He hadn't noticed it for 5 years. But Sophie had. She just hadn't said anything. Adam's heart pounded. He dialed her number, no answer. Then he tried again, and again. Finally, a text came back. "Stop digging. You'll put her in danger." He stared at the screen. In danger from who? That night, Hope cried in her sleep. He sat beside her bed, gently stroking her hair. He didn't know what scared him more, losing her in court, or losing her to something he couldn't name. The next morning, he went to town records, dug through files, traced Sophie Hale back 5 years. No death certificate, no missing person case. But one thing stood out. She used to work for a man named Vincent Rourke, a tech mogul, private, powerful, and rumored to have ties to arms development. And then Adam found it. A news article from 6 years ago. Rourke's assistant Sophie Hale disappears after secret pregnancy. And beneath it, in red marker, she ran with the child. Adam stared at the screen long after the article faded. Vincent Rourke, a billionaire, untraceable wealth, former military contractor turned tech giant, known for 2 things, power and silence. If Hope was his child and Sophie was his former assistant, this wasn't about custody anymore. It was about possession. Suddenly, it all made sense. The smudged face on the photo, the erased birth certificate, the whisper at the door, "You were never supposed to keep her." She wasn't hiding from Adam. She was hiding from him. And then, just like 5 years ago, the knocks came again. 3. Slow and deliberate. Adam's heart froze. He looked out the peephole. Not Sophie. Not the sheriff. 2 men in black suits. Unmarked car behind them. Dark tinted windows with no plates. He didn't answer. He grabbed Hope and ran upstairs, heartbeat in his throat. Outside, the men didn't knock again. They just stood there, waiting. Hope looked up at him, confused. "Daddy!" He tried to smile, but it cracked. "Pack a bag, sweetheart." She blinked. "Where are we going?" Adam looked out the back window. The woods beyond were still. For now. Somewhere no one can find us. Because this time, they weren't asking. They were coming. Adam didn't run. He thought about it. Had a bag packed, keys in hand, Hope bundled and ready. But something shifted. He looked at her, her sleepy eyes, her trust, the quiet way she leaned into his chest like the world was safest right there. And he realized he'd been running 5 years for her. Now it was time to fight. He opened the door. The men stood still. One spoke. "Mr. Rourke would like the child returned," quietly. "She's not property," Adam said. "She's a person, and I'm her father. You're not blood." Adam stepped forward. Blood never showed up. "I did." Behind them, headlights flashed. "Sophie." She stormed out of the car. "Back off. I have full legal custody now. You so much as touch her, I go to the press, the court, and every news outlet I know." The men didn't blink, but they stepped back. Hope peeked around Adam's leg. Sophie knelt down. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm your mom. But you already have your dad. I just came to protect you both." Hope looked at Adam. "You're still my daddy, right?" He knelt down, tears in his eyes. "Always." Behind them, the sun broke through the trees. And no one knocked again. The moral lesson of this story is that family isn't defined by blood. It's built through love, sacrifice, and the people who choose to stay when others walk away.